I was asked to make a sponsored video about Typeless, which is a cool AI keyboard, and actually, no, that undersells it and it doesn't set everything up properly. So someone from Typeless got in touch with me and asked me to make a Actually, no, let's lay a little bit more foundation before we dive straight into Typeless. I don't typically make sponsored videos about AI software, but when Shauna at Typeless got in touch with me, I thought, this is interesting. I said no, but I still downloaded the app and used it for 2 months, the free version. But then after 2 months, I was like, hey, I'm still using this every single day. So it's pretty cool. So then I got back in touch with Typeless and I was like, I think there's something here. And this is why I stuck with Typeless. It's taken my ramble and turned it into something supremely coherent, and it's weaved its way into almost every aspect of my smartphone and broader tech life. I'll explain why in a sec, but before I do, if you're not already subscribed to TechEdit, please do. It is where tech gets a more inclusive edit, and it really helps this channel out massively if you do subscribe. Ding that like button, ding that bell, all of that good stuff. Right, now let's get back to this awesome app. When I first saw it, I thought, okay, voice typing, I've used it for years. What could be different enough to actually make me care about this voice typing? And then I used it. It doesn't just take what I say and turn it into text. It takes what I say, adds punctuation, turns it into something coherent, oftentimes completely restructuring what I've said into what I actually meant to say. And it reminds me that my messy brain does work. It just sometimes needs a little bit of help. What's also cool is Typeless is a keyboard that you can install on Android devices, iPhones, but it works across devices. So I can install it on my Mac and my Windows device, making it feel like I can carry it from one to the other. And it augments my workflow differently depending on which device I'm using. It also syncs with my Google account, so I can share information across my devices in that respect as well, which is very cool. I'll come on to the privacy side later because that's obviously important, but from a purely practical point of view, that is a winner. Going back to my earlier story about how I was introduced to it, a big reason it stuck is because it's completely free. And the free version gives you all of the things that will convince you that it's right for you or wrong for you, but that's how I figured out it was right for me. One way I'd describe it is, you know, with ChatGPT, when you have the dictation and you're like, this is better than my voice typing tool. Well, Typeless takes it even further. It takes a ChatGPT style dictation and then adds another layer. So what it outputs is polished enough to send straight to a recipient in an email or a WhatsApp message, etc. Organization really is the name of the game, and it doesn't just organize what I say into something coherent, it will decide how it formats it as well. So for example, I know that I need to get a Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 8 video recorded on the flex mode that is missing on that phone and is available on the others. I also need to check embargo dates for another smartwatch that we'll be launching, and I really want to get my mum some flowers. What's more, there's also a load of B-roll that I need to shoot for a sponsored video I'm working on, and this has been listening to all that, and I tap the button and it's not only formatted it in an organized list, it's even given me the intro portion as a separate prose paragraph so that it's separated it effectively. And that's just absolute gold for someone who's flying from one task to the other and really needs to capture stuff in a coherent way. The times I use Typeless the most are when I'm out and about and I'm walking and I don't want to be looking at my screen, risking getting run over when I'm crossing the road, but I do want to just dictate a mindless trail of thought into the phone. Also, I'm in the gym. Typically, I like to separate work and my workout, but sometimes needs must, and I need to send an email or a message. I use Typeless. I don't want to be pulled into my display for anything when I'm working out. What's really important as well is it's actually changed the headphones I decide to use. So I'm using the Huawei Free Clip 2 and Soundcore Liberty Pro because they have the best microphones for pickup and work the best with Typeless. I've never had an app dictate what earbuds I actually use, and that's pretty neat. Then there are the things it was never meant to do that I find myself using it for, and this is specifically when I'm at a computer. I really like a physical keyboard, typing everything I need to when I'm writing a review or a script or whatever it is. But when I'm in a meeting and I just need to capture something mid-meeting, this is definitely not a meeting transcriber, so I'm not pitching it as that. But I can actually tell the other person to stop talking for a second just so I can give them the trail of thought that they will need to then put into an email they need to send to someone. So everything is captured in the moment. And actually, my brother calls me a Typeless fanboy because I do this so often, but he really benefits from it because he doesn't have to scratch his head and try and remember what I've said. He's pretty much got, based on my dictation, a ready-to-go email, and that's really time-saving. To demonstrate how effective Typeless is, you need to see it demonstrated side by side with some alternative voice transcription features. And let's use Apple and Google, for example. Actually, let's throw Samsung in there as well. As you can see, I've recorded this whole clip across those devices, and Typeless has turned what I've said into something that makes perfect sense. And it was pretty articulate, I have to say so myself, but the others, Apple, Samsung, yeah, Google, that's the other one, they all have made some like real kind of literal inferences based on what I've said, whereas Typeless has organized everything into a beautiful set of paragraphs. Now, I'm not suggesting Typeless is perfect by any means. It will make mistakes. For example, I have a friend called Mark with a C. It spells it with a K. Also, keyboards. It hasn't got UK English, so I have to settle for US English at the moment. There's no emoji keyboard, frustratingly, and also there's no swiping. In addition to that, the predictive text isn't as good as Gboard, for example, but it's very easy to switch between Typeless and Gboard. For quick edits, Typeless provides a QWERTY keyboard. You just swipe right or left. But when you want to do that full-on Google Gboard experience or whatever other keyboard you're using, and this works across iOS and Android, switch out, do whatever typing you need to do, then tap your keyboard icon, select Typeless again, and you're done. Now, any keyboard is going to raise privacy concerns, especially one that incorporates AI and voice transcription. But Typeless says it only uses what you input in limited context and zero data retention with regards to how its keyboard works. Also, nothing is used to train any models. So that's worth noting. For sensitive information, like I said, you can easily swap between Typeless and another keyboard, and it's near impossible to punch in passwords with voice typing anyway. So things like that, I always just defer to another keyboard nice and easily. That said, I definitely recommend you do your own checks and see if the privacy policy stacks up for you. And hopefully after all that, you can understand how Typeless has weaved its way into my daily workflow. And it's actually done so even more since I picked up the Galaxy Z Fold 8. This phone is wide. One-handed typing on it isn't the easiest, even if I have got big hands. As a result, voice typing is more valuable on this phone. And when you open it up, there is no one-handed typing to be had here, but Typeless typing is a piece of cake. And so with that, the Typeless experience comes to an end on TechEdit, but you can try it out for free. There is a paid tier version as well, as I said. All the details are in the description and pinned comment. But if you've got any questions about it, I'm going to keep using it. And if you have any thoughts, let me know. I'm really curious to know what you think of not just Typeless, but voice typing in general. It's kind of amazing that it's progressed so little over the last few years, and it's great to see Typeless innovating. If you've enjoyed this video, as always, please do click that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out like crazy. And ding that bell to get notified of the next video that drops. Have a wonderful day.